Hi, my name's Katie and welcome to my channel. A lot of you will probably hear from my Kaity Cichlids YouTube channel, so thank you for coming here and checking out the Homestead channel. I separated the two just because I don't want to destroy the algorithm for people who are just into aquariums and cichlids. For all of those who are interested in the farm side of things, welcome to the new channel and thank you for being here. I wanted to make this video just to give a little bit more information about the whole purpose of me moving here and what my future plans are. It's going to be a little bit separate, I guess, to what I share on the aquarium channel because the homesteading stuff kind of ties in with another side of my life and my dreams and kind of future aspirations. I feel compelled to share this because otherwise I feel like there is a big vein running through everything that joins it all together that if I don't state what it is, it just doesn't make sense as much. The other side of my life that I don't share on my aquarium channel is my psychology side. So I work as a clinical psychologist and that was just a big part of my life before I even did YouTube. I studied full-time for about 6 years and then I had to do 2 years of clinical placement and supervision to get my clinical endorsement. So that was like 8 years of fluent psychology, but it still is a really big part of my life. So when I'm not doing animal related stuff, I'm doing psychology related stuff. I'm very into just learning about psychology still, professional development, podcasts, reading, things like that. I love psychology and human behavior and all of that. I guess the reason that that's relevant to what I'm doing here is that I work all across the lifespan. So I work with kids, teenagers, adults. I ended up working with a lot of neurodivergent people and a lot of kids as well, because you don't see psychologists working with kids quite as much because you kind of have to adapt your approach a little bit when you work with kids. There can be kind of certain challenges that come along with that, opposed to working with an adult who has their prefrontal cortex developed and they can kind of understand more about psychological concepts and have more insight. That's the thing about psychology that is really cool, is that it's very individualized, so you can be doing the same kind of like treatment or intervention with someone, but depending on that person's personality, their life experiences, their interests, where they are developmentally, you can adjust your approach. A really big underlying stream that runs through it all is getting people to just be more mindful and be more present and just more aware, basically. Nature and animals is a really big part of that. Like literally just getting some D3 from being out in the sun, getting that natural exercise that you do from being outdoors and being present with animals can be so calming and so soothing for a lot of people, especially for neurodivergent people. Sometimes you'll get people who are autistic and they might be non-verbal, but it doesn't mean that they don't have a huge inner world. And sometimes animals can be a really great way of actually bringing that out. Even if you're not communicating using words, there's so many other ways that we can communicate, and that can be a real big strength. Neurodivergent people often have these huge strengths that unfortunately don't get recognized because those strengths might not fit in with the way that society is typically set up. So the whole reason of moving to this acreage is that I've always had this dream of being able to actually have clients be closer to nature and to animals. So I basically wanted to put into practice what we often tell clients. You know, we're like, go outside, be more mindful, get some sunlight, be in nature, appreciate it, get fresh air. Being able to have this clinic here, I feel like is going to open up those opportunities for people. That's why I kind of had to move far away, because it kind of wouldn't make sense, right? Because I am someone who, I care a lot about people. I'm very social. I like to be amongst things. It doesn't make sense for me to move away from people and kind of live on my own. But the whole purpose of actually being here is community driven. And that's why I had to take a little bit of a backseat from my other aquarium channel or my other YouTube channel, because when I moved here, I was kind of establishing myself within the community. And so my psychology work is always my priority. I love my hobbies, but I always have to put my clients and put that first. Just kind of a period of adjustment, I suppose. And so I guess what I wanted to do in this video is kind of explain that to you guys, for everyone who is here. It's not something I'm going to share on my aquarium channel because I really do want to keep that side of things separate. I get now that I've said this, it will kind of leach in a little bit, but I would just appreciate for anyone who is here to just kind of keep that on this channel. By explaining what I'm doing here too, I guess I can give you a little bit of an idea of the future plans and how I, in my mind, would like this to be set up, and also to give you a little bit more of an idea of why I chose the animals that I chose to have here as well, because there's a big reason behind the ones that I have chosen, including Molly, my poodle puppy. What I might do is I might just take you for a walk, and I'm just going to explain some of the plans for future development, and then we'll take a look at some of the animals, and I'll also maybe explain how those kind of tie in to this dream that I have. I really hope that my camera focused for all of that. So I'm going to take you through here first. So one thing that I haven't really shown yet is this new fence area. You probably would have seen, if you've seen some of my shorts, that we have baby goats now. My 2 does gave birth a couple of months ago, and you can see Henry the buck out the front there. But basically this area here used to all be open, and we have temporarily fenced that off, thanks to Dad doing an amazing job with that fence, just to keep the donkeys separate and keep Henry separate from the does as well, just so he's not trying to breed with them while they're trying to raise their babies. We put this fence across here. However, what the plan is that we're going to actually adjust that slightly, and we're going to have the fence go just in front of the logs there to the front of the property, so that all of the animals in this kind of free roaming area, you could call it, can still come to the front of the house. And then if we ever need to be separating goats so that they're not like inbreeding and things like that, or they just need some space, we'll have that section that's kind of inner of the paddock. But that will just be temporary, because what my plan is that when I actually have a clinic here for people to come to and to visit, I'm going to have that over here as well. And I'm hoping to have like a nice pond there as well. I want to also make this area, or this place, be educational for people too. Out where those 2 dams are, I want to create a walking track, and so it's going to be, the rest of the property will be a nice like little walk that people can go on. I want to just have nice like plants, flowers, stones, like nice little inspirational quotes and things that people can kind of see and just sit at the dams as well, and just be able to enjoy it, as well as hopefully we'll get a good rainbow fish population in there, just so people might be able to learn something at the same time too. I think it's fine to work where you live as long as they're separate, and by having this in a separate area, I think that will work great for me. It's a more efficient, kind of better use of my time, and then my skills as well. If I'm not spending as much time traveling between things, I can kind of tend to everything as I need to by doing that. That's going to be the plan for there, and we're going to put some jacaranda trees out the front as well. I just absolutely love jacaranda trees. If you haven't seen them before, these big, beautiful purple trees that flower in spring. I think they're deciduous, so they lose their flowers, or they lose their leaves in winter, but they're still just these gorgeous trees. They even have a jacaranda festival in some place in New South Wales. I think it's Grafton, just because these are such nice trees. So we're going to have them lining the front of the property as well, and that'll give a little bit of privacy for the kind of clinic area, I guess you would call it too. So that'll be one part of what I do, and being a psychologist too, I can do a lot of telehealth stuff. I really want to be able to provide to people in more remote communities assessments when they need them as well, and just that level of care and intervention that is sometimes missing for people who live a little bit further out of the city. So these are all kind of like different avenues, I suppose, of what I want to be able to provide. Arlo is sticking his head through that fence again. So I think I've covered everything for in terms of that, where we're at with it. But so Mum and Dad will be up here again soon, and we're going to swap that fence around basically and get those jacaranda trees planted in time for spring. Okay, so this whole like thing of moving here was kind of crazy, because I always said I wanted to have goats. It was even in a podcast actually with Matt. He mentioned it. He was like, maybe you could get some goats, and I was like, that would be the dream. And then this place actually came with goats. So it came with Henry here, and then the 2 does, and there was a little black baby that sadly passed away. I'll explain more about the goats in a different video and go into more detail with that. Arlo literally escaped yesterday, and he's trying to stick his head through there again. But that was cool, and you know, we've got some babies here. What's been really interesting with them too is I've learnt some things like Amber shed her fur. So I got a spinning wheel because I'm really keen to learn how to make yarn. And these are all kind of practices and things that we could have here one day too. People who could teach like textile skills and stuff like that, just so we could have a little bit of everything. Music therapy potentially. And then over here, you will see our beautiful donkeys. Now, there actually is such a thing as donkey-assisted animal therapy, would you believe it? Now, the reason that donkeys get chosen for doing that is because they're known as being quote-unquote stubborn, but what that really means is that you have to take time to get to know them and to build trust with them so they can be also very loving and very loyal. It's kind of a cool way to teach kids or adults as well, just about having that relationship where things are a little bit slower. You got to be mindful, you really have to watch their body language, you have to work with the animal, you can't force them to do anything. I've been feeding them hay, so by doing that, I've been getting them a little bit tamer, but obviously I would only introduce animals to the public once we know that they are tame and we know all of the things to keep people safe. That's basically my starting point with having these guys here. And what I will do is I'll show you a little bit of the progress that they've made in terms of being able to feed them. Can't pat them yet, but can feed them hay. And then behind these guys here, we've got Winston and Phoebe, our two Pilgrim Geese. Winston, we almost lost him from a niacin deficiency, and oh my gosh, my phone fell out of my pocket and it's on the ground there, and Phoebe is eating my phone. All right, guys, they really like bright colors because I guess it looks like fruit and vegetables and stuff. Hopefully my phone is okay. They are currently going into breeding mode because it's going to be spring here in literally about a week. Winter just went so quickly, even though it was really cold compared to in Brisbane. It flew by. I can't believe it's going to be spring. Now now I've got other things to worry about. It's not just worrying about and complaining about the cold. Now I've got to actually snake-proof their enclosure and everything and get ready for the baby geese and for planting all these plants and trees I want to plant. But basically, there's not a lot to say about them, I guess. It's just that I guess geese are another kind of animal that sometimes people fear unnecessarily because they like their space, and you've got to respect them as well to give them that space. But again, if you give them that chance, they're such a beautiful animal that you can build a lovely relationship with too. And not to mention that they're actually endangered, or they were endangered in Australia. Goose populations are just on the decline, I think, because they don't produce as many eggs as chickens. I think they only produce like 28 or 30 a year. They're not really used for farming in that way, in like an agricultural way. And then maybe because they have a little bit of a stigma for being aggressive, possibly is a contributor. And they're loud. That would be the other thing too. It's kind of like how you wouldn't have a rooster in suburbia. Geese can be kind of loud too, so kind of similar. But hopefully we get some little babies from them, because I think that'll be cool just to document that. Again, we'll just kind of put the splice of lots of different things in here, some mental health stuff, some educational stuff, some just for interest and curiosity of seeing these animals. So that is happening with them. I'll make more videos specific to the animals at some point, but the thing is I'm very new at this too, so I'm no expert on any of this. Sometimes don't have that much information to share, and maybe it wouldn't be the best since my goose literally almost died not that long ago because of something I didn't know. But we are learning. That little area used to be just on there because it's just an area to enclose animals for when vets and stuff come, or if you need to give them some space when feeding. Probably move that back because it actually was much more convenient there. Henry is in his rut season at the moment. That's why he's sniffing the air, but he can't get to the females at the moment. And that goose enclosure used to come out a little bit further, and I kind of miss seeing them from the house. We moved that there so we could see the dam better, but now I can't see their little faces in there at night. So we'll probably extend that, not as far as what it was out, but a little bit more. So as you can see, it's just kind of lots of trial and error based stuff. The other thing that I've been getting into a little bit too is just trying to live a little bit more sustainably. So doing things like, this is very minimal, but doing things like getting a worm compost bin. I'm trying like a little herb garden. I've tried to plant some more fruit trees, and I say try because some of them died, but we are still trying. So I've got a lemon tree, that's the one that has done okay. Just all of these cool kind of things, because I think they're nice to also, if we have this clinic here, to be able to teach people about a little bit too, and just to kind of show them how some of these things work. I'm out here doing this mostly by myself. Of course, I've got friends and family around me who are so amazing and so supportive, and this whole community online as well. But just to show that even as one person, some of the things that you can do to make a little bit of a difference to the world and be a little bit more mindful about your health as well, and how you consume things. So yeah, just for interest. I think that's pretty much everything. All right, let's just give the donkeys a little bit of hay and then we can finish up with that. Feel free to subscribe if you want to just see more about this. It's going to be a little bit of everything. Like we'll have a little bit of stuff that is to do with the animals and looking after them, just some kind of casual vlogs, and also just what we're doing in terms of progress of getting this whole dream and clinic all together. All right, the donkeys they've lost their patience, they're moving away. So we've got Primrose and Murphy here. I think we're going to have Primmy come over. They're both girls. There you go. And they've made a lot of progress since when they first got here. So they were just used as livestock guardians for sheep. So they didn't have an awful lot of human interaction. So we're just trying to tame them up at the moment. Murphy's over there eating a little bit of hay that was on the ground. The funny thing is though, the experience I had with donkeys was I went to Blake's Animal Ranch and I think he has dwarf donkeys. So when I got these guys, I was like, oh my gosh, these guys are huge. So they're just standard donkeys, but they are bigger than some of the, you know, little tiny ones that you see. But we are taming them up and trying to get them nice and friendly and everything. So donkeys live for a really long time. They live for about 40 years. So that means that they're going to be around for a long time. We've got plenty of time to get them nice and tame. For Murphy, there you go. All right, and give some to Primmy. They do jostle over food a little bit, so I try and give it to them a little bit separately or just at the same time at least. We might end up with a little bit of a fight over the food here. Good girls. Well done. So you'll notice they really bend down to look at stuff too. They can't see below them when they're standing right up. So they kind of lean right forward to look at stuff. These are not great pieces of hay, are they? There we go. All right, hang on a second. And so this is kind of what we'll have to be doing. We're just basically working on getting the animals here to be patient, to be well mannered as well. Good girls. Hang on a second. No more, not right now. Good girl. That's good. I'll give you a little bit. Good girl. Oh, you're too slow. To be fair, these aren't great pieces. They don't like it when it's all like that. They like the bigger pieces. Let's get some off the ground. Good girls, good girls. So I don't know if you saw that, but we can't quite pat them yet, but eventually the plan is that we'll be able to do that. So I don't normally feed them in the midday like this, so I'll give them the rest of their food in the afternoon. They can have like 2 kilograms of hay if they're not on a pasture, which they shouldn't be on a really lush pasture anyway, which they're not, because this is Australia. Our grass is pretty dry, as you can see, especially in winter. But what you can get them is straw instead of hay that has less nutrients, so they're less susceptible to getting obese, is what we have learned. But that's them. That's Primmy and Murphy, who will hopefully be really beautiful little companions here. And then, of course, there is one person that we can't forget about. Come on out. Good girl. She's probably going to run over to the camera and try and knock it over. Molly, come here. Come here. We got little Molly, who is our now 6-month-old poodle puppy, who is a little bit big now, because she was much smaller before. And so poodles are great therapy assistance dogs, which is one of the reasons why I thought a poodle would be a great idea. I didn't really super plan that. I just love dogs, and Zeta used to be my dog, but Mum and Dad have had her with them for years now. So, you know, they kind of wanted to keep her, and I was completely happy for that as well, because she's their companion now as well. So we got Molly here. Therapy dogs can't start their training until they're adults, so you have to wait until they're at least, I think, 1 to 2 years old it is, because little puppies can be too unpredictable and hyper. But eventually, we're gonna have a beautiful little therapy dog is the plan. I know that not everyone will want to have a dog when they're having therapy, but she'll just be there as the option for those who are more comfortable having that too. well, I think we'll finish off the video here. I hope you found it helpful or enjoyable or just interesting, I guess, hearing a little bit about the plans for here. And I'm so glad to be able to finally share with you guys as well who are interested in, I guess, the making it all make sense. You know, bringing that to light, that underlining undercurrent of the whole point and the whole purpose behind all of this, because it is not just to live out in the middle of nowhere with animals by myself. You know, I very much want to make this community-based and hopefully make a difference to the world. All right, well, we will leave this video here and I'll see you in the next one. Bye. Good work, Molly. Good work.